I'm a realtor that used to be with Exp Realty, and I left Exp Realty due to awful experiences I've had with their California broker team. Now, I've met lots of great friends at Exp Realty. I hope we can remain friends. There's great networking things that happen with Exp, but the nature of their business and their broker team, the way it's set up for California at least, is absolutely terrible. And this has been going on for about a year or so, but I'll briefly relay the issue here. So, typical of being a real estate agent, there's a commission demand, you get your commission directly from escrow, usually as soon as it records, and that's how you get paid. Well, for some reason, they had on there a single check disbursement. And basically what that means is they hold your check hostage if they think there's some compliance issue or some issue with compliance. And just some background about me. I've had my real estate license since 2007. I used to run a small mortgage branch, so compliance is not really an issue with me. What had been an issue was that I had been uploading documents. The documents they would disappear. Entire transactions would disappear in SkySlope. And this was an ongoing issue with Exp Realty. And I brought it to their attention. So eventually I scheduled a meeting with Debbie Penny in Exp World to bring the matter to their attention. And what they said was that I was a serial non-complier. I was expecting, we're here to address your concerns. Hey, and they were like, oh, do you need help figuring out how to upload things? And I said, no, I need to find out why the transactions are disappearing and all the documents associated with the transactions are disappearing. And essentially what they said was that it was implied that I was lying to them and that I was a serial non-complier. So I was like, fine, whatever. Some time goes on, and they were missing some documents, and they had a new broker, broker assistant, Roger, that they'd hired. And I get a phone call from my mother. And my mother's like, she got a message left from Roger about documents missing from the file. Well, my mother was a government employee, and she doesn't know anything about real estate, doesn't practice real estate. And so the first thing going through my mother's mind is that, that I must have done something wrong. Why are they calling me? And they claimed that it was an error. And maybe it was, but I simply don't believe that. I don't believe that. I was asking them, I don't understand how emergency contacts and agent compliance, how those two would even remotely be in the same place on Exp Workplace. If you've ever logged in there, there are different databases and they all look very different if you're an Exp agent. So, he said, oh, it was a rookie mistake. And maybe it was, but I'm sorry, I don't believe that. I don't believe anyone could possibly be that incompetent. So number one, they did not acknowledge the fact that they could have been the ones making a mistake. And number two, I believe that this was a tactic used to shame me into compliance. Again, I've been in mortgage lending. I started my real estate career in mortgage lending in 2003. So I have 20 years of experience in the real estate industry. I've been on the lending side. I've been on the real estate side. And so my intention was to leave right then and there. I had some deals go bad. I couldn't do that. So I stuck around. And eventually, I said, I think you need to fire Roger. Now, again, I used to run a small mortgage branch. I've been in charge of hiring and firing people. And if someone made a serious mistake like that, especially when my mother is caring for my ailing stepfather, I'm not going to go into the details, they're of a personal nature, but suffice it to say, he's very ill and she's very emotional about the entire situation. And so something like this is not something she wants to be thinking about. And by something like this, I mean she has no idea what real estate is and why somebody would be contacting her about this. Again, the thing that goes through her head is he must have done something wrong. So I brought this up. No, we're not going to fire him. It was a rookie mistake. I talked to the vice president And two people from the executive. I can't recall their names offhand. Bosch, the last name Bosch, one of them, and had the person that runs our office, our local branch, talking to him on a Zoom meeting, and they said, no, we're not going to fire them. And I said, well, this is somebody that's, if it's a rookie mistake, and and you're all over on me on compliance, and this person called my emergency contacts, whether it was out of a mistake or whether it was an intentional tactic to shame me into uploading the documents, he should be fired. So that was what I asked for, and it didn't happen. So just to give you an idea of the vibe, I at one time briefly worked for the state of California in state service. And if any of you have any familiarity with state service, then you understand the type of arrogance that I'm talking about here. Well, that was the kind of arrogance on display from this guy Bosch, Johnny Bosch, was it? I don't recall his name. But, and there was a female too in this Zoom meeting. So I escalated it up. I talked to Glenn Sanford. Glenn Sanford said, nah, I don't touch it. Talk to operations. So as the vice president of operations, I said, I would like this person to be fired. And they basically said, yeah, we don't care if you stick around EXP or not. And so I was going to leave, but I thought if they don't want me to be here, then of course I'm going to stick around. So I decided to stay. And so they made a deal with me. They said, you close 3 transactions and they're clean files. We'll take this single check distribution off. Single check, again, meaning that EXP gets paid the entire commission check and then they pay me. Now, some brokerages operate in this fashion, and those are brokerages that I wouldn't consider joining because of that fact. Again, I've been in real estate for 20 years, and I've heard all kinds of horror stories about, during the last housing decline we had, where mom and pop shops would operate under this model, and they would go under, and people wouldn't get paid. So I like to get paid directly from escrow, and that's the way that I like to operate. So this causes me a great deal of anxiety. Plus, I don't like being spoken to like I'm a child. So we had our issues, but I was like, I'm going to go ahead and stay. So they suggested that I hire a transaction coordinator. And I was like, okay, I will hire a transaction coordinator just because I don't want to deal with stupid people. So I did. I hired a transaction coordinator, and on my last transaction with Exp Realty, the transaction coordinator had all of the same issues that I had. Documents disappearing, having to re-upload things 2 or 3 times. All of that stuff that I had encountered doing it myself is exactly what my transaction coordinator had experienced. So I know it's not me. Shout out to Chris. Chris is the best transaction coordinator in real estate. I'm very happy to have hired him. The best in the business. I've worked with him on the other side of transactions, and that's how I had come to know Chris, my transaction coordinator. So now it's not just me. My transaction coordinator has experienced all of the same issues that I had experienced. So why can't we fix the issues? Well, they weren't fixed. So, I made an off-color comment about EXP World, and I do that. I have a very dry sense of humor, and I'll make off-color comments. And so the off-color comment, if you're familiar with Exp Realty, they have this thing called the World, which is a virtual world like a video game. And one of the things, so I said they should really, one of the things that I've done in mortgage lending is we used to have a day where people would be able to, a dunk tank, and people would be able to dunk their supervisors, right? And it's a way to blow off steam and have a little bit of fun. I'm an avid gamer. I love gaming. And so I said, hey, why don't we have a GTA update for EXP World so that, you can have a little bit of fun and go postal on some of these people in the virtual world, that the implication being that there would be no harm done and it would be a good way to blow off steam. Well, maybe I did delete that post, but, somebody didn't receive it the way it was intended to be received. So the long story short is that, if you're thinking about joining Exp Realty and you're in California, unlike the strengths of Exp Realty really would be the KV core and some of the excellent networking groups they have, the stock options, the revenue share. Those are good things to have. But the negative for sure, and I think it's an insurmountable negative, would be the broker team. The broker team, they're arrogant. They don't stick up for their agents. They cover their own butts. And one of the things that, just to allude to this, this comparison that I made to state service. If you haven't been in state service, I know some of you have been to the DMV. And for those of you that have been to the DMV, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And that is the kind of mentality that the EXP California broker team has. So if you're considering a brokerage, I just weigh what I've said, make your decision. A lot of decisions go into choosing a brokerage, the friends that you make, the people that are there. I've made some amazing friends over the years at Exp Realty, and I'm extremely grateful for that, and I love you all. But I think, this divorce has been a long time coming, just really specifically because of this broker team issue. I think it's absolutely unforgivable to use someone's emergency contacts to even if I was in the wrong, even if I had been in the wrong, to pressure someone for compliance. I think that's unforgivable. I think Roger should have been fired. I think Deborah Penny should have been fired. And quite frankly, I think really the whole California broker team, it starts at the top. I think that the people at the top needed to be fired, and the people under them that maybe didn't partake in that sort of arrogance and denial of responsibility should have been coached on how to properly deal with these issues. Because obviously, if I'm having trouble with documents being uploaded then disappearing, and I'm having difficulty with entire transactions disappearing, and my transaction coordinator is having difficulty with entire documents disappearing after they've been uploaded, and they've asked 2 or 3 times for the same stuff, and it's been uploaded, that tells me that it's not an issue with me with respect to compliance. And, just to tell you how serious I am about compliance, I mean, I have all my templates set up, uploaded in zip forms that have all of the documents needed for compliance, and I front load all of my disclosures. So there's absolutely no reason whatsoever that there should be missing documents. But they did eventually, when I asked them about this stuff, I did ask them, they went in and scrutinized my files. They called me a serial non-complier for really these 2 issues. One, proof of funds from the buyer. Now, if I'm the listing agent, I really don't care about your proof of funds, okay? And the EXP affiliated disclosure and EXP specific disclosure. And basically what that means is, hey, we've got these affiliations with these different other entities, and here's what they are, just so you know. I mean, it's not even a California required document. So that's been my experience with Exp Realty, and I can't tell you what to do, but for myself, if I were an agent and I were looking for a place to hang my license, I would take a pass on Exp Realty. So now we come to the end of this, and here's what I want to know from you EXP folks out there. Feel free to comment below. Have you experienced anything like this? I would really like to know. Let me know in the comments below. And by the way, folks, the person that decided to report my post, the joke that I made, they said that I'd previously made some posts alluding to the very things that I'm talking about on social media with a friends distribution. So it was only seen by my friends. So whoever did it was on my friends list. And the only people that saw any disparaging comments about Exp Realty were on my friends list. So, the I'm sorry, I'm upset. So the point being, I would like to hear about what your experiences have been like with the California broker team. And feel free to share this video far and wide. I would love to hear what you think. Thank you.